Advocates of capital punishment often argue that it serves as a deterrent to crime. The theory behind this argument is that the fear of facing the death penalty will deter potential criminals from committing similar crimes. However, studies on the deterrent effect of the death penalty have been inconclusive, and many experts argue that other factors, such as the likelihood of being caught and the severity of the punishment, have a greater impact on crime rates. Another argument in favor of capital punishment is that it is a form of justice for victims and their families. Some supporters of the death penalty believe that it provides closure for the families of victims and that it is a just punishment for crimes that are particularly heinous. However, opponents of capital punishment argue that it is inhumane and violates basic human rights. They point out that the death penalty is often applied unfairly, with poor and minority defendants more likely to receive the death penalty than wealthy or white defendants. They also argue that the death penalty is often used in cases where the defendant is mentally ill or intellectually disabled, which they see as a violation of basic human rights. Another concern about capital punishment is that the justice system is fallible, and innocent people have been put to death. This is a particularly troubling issue, as there is no way to undo an execution if it is later discovered that the convicted person was innocent. In addition to these ethical concerns, there are practical issues with the use of capital punishment. Capital punishment cases often involve lengthy appeals processes and special facilities for death row inmates, which can be expensive for taxpayers. In some cases, it may actually be more expensive to put someone to death than to imprison them for life without parole. Overall, the use of capital punishment is a complex and controversial issue. While advocates argue that it serves as a deterrent to crime and as a form of justice for victims, opponents argue that it is inhumane, arbitrary, and flawed, and that it violates basic human rights. In conclusion, the use of capital punishment continues to be a highly debated and controversial issue around the world. While some argue that it serves as a necessary form of justice and deterrence, others see it as a violation of basic human rights and a flawed system that can lead to injustice. Ultimately, the decision on whether to use capital punishment is one that requires careful consideration of the ethical, practical, and social implications involved. As society continues to evolve and our understanding of justice and punishment shifts, it will be interesting to see how the debate around capital punishment continues to unfold.